3, 2, 1, and let's go. Are we overachieving in our first season in the Premiership? Are we really just this good? Or actually, the teams around us just aren't as good as you think they should be in the Premiership. Anyhow, we sit 5th. In today's video, we're going to recap the midway point of the season and all the big results, player development, and all those key aspects that see us currently outperforming our means in the top flight. We also have massive money issues, and we could be facing administration, but let's not worry about that too much because that's a very scary thought. Let's go run that intro. I'll be right back in just a second. Do not go anywhere. Yes, welcome in YouTube into the video. I have to say firstly, the last few videos that have gone out have been great for support, so thank you. Secondly, 74% of people not subscribed that are watching. I'm 6 subscriptions away as I film this from 450. I've never had more than 450 subs, so if you are watching and you feel generous, it's free to sub. Please hit that little red button below us. It would be very much appreciated. However, what we're going to do is we're going to break this into segments. First things first, I have not got to the point where I want to recap results. I will be back after the Peterhead game. Nice to play against the very old foe from Season 1, of course, as well. Second thing that we're going to do, though, is talk about the finances. And we'll do that in the interim. But what I'm going to do first is talk about player development. And it's important to mention that even in very poor facilities, as long as you're giving players first team minutes, a very good set of expectations, and have good training units, you do a very good job. Now, I'm going to start on training units first. As you can see in calendar, I've got like 1 match attacking, etc. For those that are wondering what they do with schedules, some people create their own schedules and stuff. I've actually downloaded the RDF tactic schedules. So if you go to any RDF tactic video, who is one of the massive football managing YouTubers, he has generally all his all his training tactics available, and I just go in and upload all the attacking, defensive, and no development ones. And because they work so many of the core areas, you get good growth. As you can see here with DeCheco, who's fast become our best player, and maybe someone that might keep this club afloat by himself. As you can see, Andre DeCheco is growing fantastically. He's physically an absolute monster with great physicality and agility, and you can see with the upward arrows and with the star rating, he is now definitely one of the better players, not just for us, but in the league. And that's because he's got great work rate, great technique, but we're working some key things, and I just want to speak about player development. If you can outline one key area you want to work on, double intensity is also awesome, but also know that you can set it that in training, if they don't have match preparation or rest, you can see that we can set double intensity where it needs to, and you should always set these onto double intensity, the rest of normal and half intensity. I think that's really important because if they are fit enough to train fully, double intensity will work them that little bit extra harder and provide that little bit of extra growth. Now, I will say I am semi-professional, no facilities. So, well, no, I'm not. I'm professional, but still have no facilities. So, my growth isn't great, but if Andre DeCheco was getting these minutes and I had better facilities, he would actually grow into probably a very, very good winger. And someone like this is fantastic. Take, for example, someone like a... someone like an example like a David Montoya, right? Now, there's some downward arrows. Never worry about downward arrows as players regressing to the mean of the team. You know, he's been compared to Andre DeCheco, who's flying up and whatever. So the game, has these little ups and downs. And it's all about those long-term ups on a player, which DeCheco's currently having. If you go into training here, even though he's got decent off the ball, attacking movement's not bad. But if you get a player that's just so raw, and I'm trying to think of a player here that maybe is just make him as good as he can be in certain areas. Like a Jay Hogarth. As a goalkeeper, yeah, we could be working handling and stuff, but it's 8 handling. The best it's ever going to get to is 11 or 12. So a player like this, I go, you know what? No, let's work one-on-ones, because if we can get that to 15, that becomes elite. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention with player development is that, if you've got a player that is really good in one area, but really poor in another, sometimes worth working what they're very best at as well. In terms of development center, etc., I will touch quickly on Derek, who is actually having an uptick in development as well, and now being tutored as a promising striker. His pace and acceleration is also up to 9. The loan system is really, really good. I actually expect this guy to come in and play for me next year, because I really don't think I'm going to have enough money in the football club to do too much. And after we run the intro to the Twitch, which we are currently live, so links down below to come watch all the VODs live, and of course me live with Dumbarton, we're going to talk about the finances. If you have a look at the top right-hand corner, there's a lot to speak about here as well. You, yes, you, follow me on Twitch. You watch all my content live and, of course, all the VODs for all your viewing needs. The Twitch is the place to go, and for funny clips like this.
Can you fucking shut up?
Pietro Pellegrini
just
is a
shut
freak, Mum.
Honestly.
Pietro Pellegrini is a freak. Let's talk about these finances, YouTube, because oh boy, we have lost 1.3 mil. We have $1 million of debt. We've currently got a debts and loans of 3.9 mil, which we are paying back at the moment, 38k per month. That's for the stadium getting increased from only 2,000 to 4,800 seats. It's not particularly good. If you look at the projection, they reckon by our balance by the end of 26-27 is 1.28 million. I think that's trying to also incorporate the fact that the prize money will get. If it's not, and for those that need a reminder of the prize money, you know, if we were to finish 8th, 9th, etc., I actually think we would be still in debt, because I think we're going to be about anywhere between 1.8 to $2 million in debt by the time the season rolls around. Now, that obviously depends on if a Scottish Cup run happens, if we go away from home to Rangers or Celtic, where we can get 700,000 for gate receipts on any given day. But, yeah, it's not looking good for the finances. At least our league form at the moment would mean that we could potentially sneak into a European spot. And that's how these Riser Nations go, a little bit. Maybe not to this extreme. I've never been in this much debt at any of my Riser Nation clubs. And that's mainly, in Denmark and in Iceland when I did Riser Nation, very easy to get to the top of the domestic table, right? You don't have much money, but, you know, the top of a HK to get there was like 2 seasons, and I was winning the league every year. When it was with Denmark, it took me a season or two of consolidating, but being one of the topper sides, and then toppling Copenhagen and Midtjylland very quickly. And once you're in the Champions League every single year, or, you know, getting into Europe, the money is very, very lucrative, especially for a smaller club, etc. The beautiful thing here, and the reason why I like this challenge at Dumbarton, is they start with no facilities. No 18s, no reserves. So that's an extra impact into these balance and how much we're hemorrhaging money, because we've got a professional setup for a club that's still quite semi-professional in terms of how it's, you know, how the foundation is. So transitioning out of that's pretty cool. And the second thing is Celtic, Rangers are really good. It's going to take a while for me to get enough money to go and buy enough players to turn over that cycle of buying world-class or wonder-kid talent, you know, selling them on for 2, 3, 4, 5 million at a pop, buying again, finding them, rotating until we can get this balance of like 15, 20 million, then we can go ham, right? And look to upgrade the facilities. And it's going to take time to topple Rangers and Celtic, but also teams like Aberdeen, Hibs, they're all very decent sides, and it's going to take a while for us to even consolidate and get there. Now, the league table may say Damien already, they're doing it, but I think that's more down to A, the 4-4-2, and B, there's a couple of teams that are not having their best run of form this season, which is really helping us. I think, personally, we're going to be about $2 million in debt. So if we don't finish inside the top, 4, we're probably going to have a negative bank balance going into next season. And that's going to mean one or two things to me. A, that means potentially by the time the end of the next season rolls around and the squad stays the exact same, I don't see our income or sponsorship being any good. And I'm about to put that on screen for you in just a second, to be anywhere near needing to finish outside the top 4 and having a positive balance. What I'm trying to say is, I feel like there's a big part that either the board have to sell the club in order to generate funds, or B, the club will go into administration. I've never been in administration on Football Manager, and that's because there's just so much debt in the football club at the moment, because we have no sponsorship, have no revenue, everything's so small, and it costs so much for us to be in the top flight. You know, if you look at the sponsor, only 34k, and if we went by stadium size, we've only got a 2,000-seater stadium. Even our upgrade's not even going to get us into 11th. For that, so we're not getting enough gate receipts revenue. And obviously in the league, you don't get half the receipts. The league receipts is for that club at home. So money is quite tight. It's quite tense. It's making it quite difficult, and something we definitely have to monitor. at least the league form is a silver lining, right? And I'll recap these results very quickly in a second, so this episode doesn't blow out too long. I think we're in fourth, and I think the data hub will back up that we should be in fourth. But I'm going to tell these guys right now, there is teams below us that have much better squads, and they're not having their best time of it, namely Aberdeen. If we go into the data hub, firstly, we're under our XG for goals slightly, but basically on it. But one goal over the XGA. We're actually 5 points behind where we should be, where, if we had 5 extra points of being on 41 points right now, we actually sit in third spot, which would be beautiful. I think what we need to do is now we're on 31 points and the goal was to get to 36. We're definitely not getting relegated this season, and that was the big thing. We are definitely overachieving with this football club, but knowing that the finances and the balance is very precarious, there's a world where even if we finish fourth, we could still be in the red next season. I have no way to improve the squad because I don't really have the money, and to be fair, if I go spend the money to try and improve the squad, whatever the board gives me, it's just going to make us more in debt, which is going to be hard to draw out of unless we go on a run, finish in a Europa League spot, go on a run in the Europa League, and next minute generate money for European prize money and etc. But I don't think that is feasible yet because I don't think the squad's ready yet. Yes, I think this 4-4-2 is fantastic, and yes, this 4-4-2 is outperforming. But it's a very precarious spot to be in. I haven't been in one of these in a Rise of Nation. I think it's cool to stipulate that in a YouTube video. Since we last bet, though, obviously, we've had some results, which has been pretty cool. I've got a couple games to really go through and talk about specifically, but it's been a good time of it, but some really interesting results as well. Very here or there results. I think, firstly, I want to touch on this Celtic game. We didn't film this one, but we lost 4-3 at home. Yet again, Celtic dominant. Yet again, Celtic deserved the win. But yet again, we're very clinical against Celtic, which was great. Esther Sokler, since coming in, has been superb. He's got 10 goals in 17, 7.11. And it seems in these bigger games, he goes big. Yes, he might go on a game where he gets a hat-trick and then he goes on a run without scoring. And then, all of a sudden, it's a big goal in a big game, etc. So I'm really liking Sokler up front is what I'm trying to say here as well. And that's a good result. Against Queen's Park as well. We turned around, we beat them, we won 4-0. Montoya scoring his first goal in ages, which is great. If you look at Montoya's form, and someone to really recap, hadn't scored in ages, gets a brace, gets a goal, and starting to get a little bit more confidence back. He's only got 6 goals this season, which for your first time playing professional football after coming from an amateur club in USA, I can understand. And he still has potential and still is fantastic, but he's not DeCheco levels. And saying that, though, he does score what would be ending up goal of the month, which is fantastic. As you can see here, 1 touch, top bin, got us a little bit of confidence in this game against Queen Park. That's a fantastic goal, and there we go. But then we have some weird results. We beat Hearts 3-0 at home, which is perfect after losing 2-0 in the Cup and etc. Rangers absolutely slapped us 5-2, which was whatever. Dundee we win, and then all of a sudden against Kilmarnock, who are in 11th, we lose 2-1 away from home. Interesting result. Got dominated. We lose 2-1 away from home to St. Mirren. Interesting result. To be fair, we were the better side, but it is what it is. And then, you got some other games where results are good again. Livingston 2-2, maybe not the greatest away from home, but, in this Christmas period where it's pretty busy, 2-2 at home, apologies, we should be winning. Motherwell 2-0 away, they're in 11th. Important to get away from these relegation sides. By this stage, Montoya got injured. I was rotating anyway, being Christmas, so Sean Joshua has been playing. Scored 3 goals already this season, which is not too bad for a guy that's 2-star. And then a really weird result against Hibs of all teams. Not many clean sheets come around, but a clean sheet here, we had 2 XG, we were the better side. So there's results where against teams that I expect us to win, we lose. There's results where against teams that I expect us to get pumped, we score 3 goals out of nothing. Then there's results like Rangers, which blow us out the water. And then we have the very interesting results like Livingston away or, big, Kilmarnock away. Even, that Livingston at home game last episode, or Queen's Park at home game, apologies, last episode, which drew 2-2. We're not consistent enough to be a top 4, top 5, top 6 club. However, and it has to be said, Aberdeen have been, in the bottom half of the table and they're predicted to do so well. Yes, they've gone on a run here, but look at their results for here. Trying to deal with Europe and qualifying, it's not great. If you go to season preview, they're a team predicted to come 4th and, falling by the wayside. a team like Hibs just throwing the occasional, 3-0 lose to Rangers, 0-0 to us, 0-0 to Hearts, 3-2 to Celtic, 2-0 to Aberdeen, who are below them, and then going on draws. They haven't really, what I expected from Hibs is, yeah, we'll lose to Celtic and Rangers, but we'll beat everybody else, which is a good thing for us. You have teams like, maybe if you have a look at the table here in season preview, have a team like Motherwell, who should be doing better, that are getting maybe relegated this season. A team like Kilmarnock on paper should be doing a lot better, and Kilmarnock can't win a game at the moment. So do I think we're here on merit in fourth? The data hub says yes. From what I've seen of the 4-4-2, I think it's very, very, very good, and I think we're playing well. And this is a system that I can't wait. I've built this system, fall in love with this system. I can't wait till we get like world-class talent into this 4-4-2 and see if we can win the Champions League with it before having to maybe switch into a 4-3-3, etc. I would love to play this 4-4-2 with Scotland and the national team. That's definitely still part of this save. I just want to reiterate Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Hibs, even Hearts. They've all dropped games where they shouldn't have, which I guess happens throughout a league season, but I didn't expect them to drop this many games. And maybe we're a little bit lucky to be where we are because they're all underperforming as well. And maybe next year there's a little bit more of, Hibs and Aberdeen push away with Celtic and Rangers from us. And that's okay. If we can consistently finish 5th or 6th, that's absolutely massive. Last thing I am going to recap here is I do have a goal to show you as well against Dundee in the stream. And it was more down to the 4-4-2 being a very good system again. And I know that I always put the link to the 4-4-2 in the video at the end. But yeah, proper Brexit goal 4-4-2, which is good. And I think it's important to highlight moments of what's good about this system as well when I see it. Because I see it happen all the time on stream, but I don't really get enough time to document. But, I show you one last week about the winger staying wide. The striker staying on stay wider as the advance forward and peeling wide on the break. This one here is all about, this is why you need to have a really tall striker. This is why the 4-4-2 being congested, as you can see, is very tight. All about that second ball going long, not playing out. Because if you play out here, you lose this sort of highlight. As you can see, Ferry in here gets the ball with his hands in goal, and straight away it's aimed at the big guy Sockler. Now, sometimes it goes to Montoya. It doesn't happen all the time, but when you do get the right thing, there we are. See, the header gets one, and straight away, because our lines are so tight, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys underneath Sockler that can win the ball. And in AFL sense, we've got a ruckman tapping it into his on-ballers. For us here, it's old school Leipzig mentality when they had Mane, etc. All these young players they would go direct, and what they'll do is halve the pitch and get 3 guys that could be in and around the big guy getting it down or the player they've gone direct into, because even if they don't win the header, they're going to win the secondary press. And this system's very good in the secondary press, being on an attacking system. And then you've got the one outlet on the right-hand side that can provide the option. And as you can see here, Sangari with the ball, which doesn't go that way. You ends up going to Grant, ball into Montoya, fantastic goal. But the same principle applies. This 4-4-2 has many ways to kill teams. On the break with the striker staying wider. It still plays out when necessary from the back with the centre-backs, and still looks to knock the ball around in the middle of the park, and you still get people dropping in and out, etc. But that's also something that's proper Brexit 4-4-2. Long ball to the big man, knock it down, get numbers around it. Even if they win the header, you win the second ball. Have your outlet left and right. Ball in the box, off you go. I think it's awesome. As you can see with Dundee, we absolutely dominate them there. As always, there is a link to the 4-4-2 in the top corner, so definitely go look at it. There's a download link in it. Go check it out. There's also a link to the current playlist for this save. This might be your first ever video. I will re-mention again, it's about 74% of you do not subscribe to the video, so please subscribe, give it a like. Thank you for checking out another video here on the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.